forget, something special coming up this weekend, Australia versus Fiji. I'm doing a live stream of that game from a commentary point of view. I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to talk about it on my YouTube channel in a live commentary situation. So if that's something that appeals to you, make sure you come and join me for the Australian versus Fiji game that's taking place this weekend from the McDonald Stadium in Newcastle, Australia. And we'll see how that goes. Experiment. Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria is the venue for the first test match between South Africa and Italy that's taking place this weekend. A two-game series that will be played in South Africa, and of course the South African Springboks are going into this series as the prime favourites. I haven't heard any cries coming out of the world of rugby about Italy sending a B team to play against the Springboks this weekend. Take that as a joke as you will. But it's going to be an interesting encounter at Loftus, that's for sure, this weekend. In this video, I'm going to talk about the game, look at the two teams, give you my thoughts and opinions. So let's get into it. Plenty of new people joining the channel here at the moment. So if you are new, welcome here. It's great to have you here. My name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan. I'm 60 years old. I live in Cancun in Mexico, and I love watching rugby all across the world. This year, for the remainder of the year, I'm focusing on the international matches that are taking place. So if that's in your wheelhouse, make sure you come back and follow along. The best way to do that is also by hitting the subscribe button, and give this video a bit of a thumbs up if you enjoyed as well. So South Africa versus Italy this weekend, and what do we got as far as a track record goes? Well, the Springboks have played 16 times against the Italians. They've won 15 of those. They've lost one, which is in 2016. That game was played in Florence in Italy, where the Italians had a 2-point win. But I don't see any upsets coming this weekend. The Springboks have announced a very, very interesting team. I'm going to go through that in just a second. And so have the Italians. So what's going on? Are we seeing a bit of experimental things going on from these coaches? I thought that was against the law of rugby fans to experiment with team selections. But take that as you will with a bit of tongue-in-cheek. Okay, so let's have a look at the Springboks first of all, and we'll get on to their forwards. And in the front row, it's going to be Oxenchair, Malcolm Marx and Wilco Low. And boy, there's some big boys there to take on the might of the Italians. And this is what I'm so impressed with, and continue to be impressed with the Springboks team. They're so big, they're so mobile, and they've got so many different possibilities in terms of selections. And what a wonderful situation for Rassie and the team to have so many players that are available and playing at such a good level for the Springboks across all the different competitions. So it's going to be interesting to see how this particular front row goes. I love Wilco Low. He's a giant of a man, brings a new dimension, I believe, to this front row. But if we saw Oxenchair last year play fantastic rugby, he was one of the men of the year for me for the Springboks last year. Thought he played exceptionally well. And Malcolm Marx back in after last weekend's run against the Barbarians, scored a try in that game, of course. And expect to see another try from Malcolm Marx this weekend. He does it all the time, doesn't he? He has so many different combinations he can go to. So when it came to the locks for this particular game, it was interesting for me anyway to see which way he was going to go. And it's Eben Etzebeth comes back in. And what a monumental legend of the game Etzebeth is. And it's great to see him back. I'm going to be really enjoying watching him play this weekend and back on the field for the Springboks. And Lud de Jager has got in as well, and a lot of you mentioned in my last comments, not only did I say his name incorrect last time, but you were telling me that this guy is a standout player and he's going to cause some huge waves for the Springboks. So I'm looking forward to seeing de Jager play on Saturday and see what he can do against this Italian team. So talking about players that are getting an opportunity, we're seeing Vincent Juka get his chance again in this game, and it's going to be fantastic. He played brilliantly, I thought, last weekend against the Barbarians, and he's been given a slot in this game against Italy. So let's see how Chatuka goes in this particular game. Beast of a man, brilliant around the field, and watch out for his offloads. He can cause some damage in that area. On the other side of the loose forwards, we've got Marco van Staden. We know what we get with van Staden. It's always pretty good. And then in the back, we're seeing Jasper Wiese come back into the team, which is great. I love Wiese. He played brilliantly last year, I thought. Really upped his game in some of those games last year, and he's a fantastic number 8. So that starting pack for the Springboks is absolutely brilliant. They've got the beef and the power up front. They've got two guys that'll do fantastically well at their set pieces, and Etzebeth and Jaeger, and they've also got a fast, mobile and brutal back three, so that's going to really give Italy a lot of problems. A great pack as far as I'm concerned for the Springboks. Let me know in the comments what you think of this selection from Rassie for the forwards to start this game. Let's move on to the back line, and for me this is where it gets really interesting because I didn't see any of this coming from Rassie, particularly when it came to the 9 and 10. So we're going to see Mornay Vandenberg back in the number 9 jersey. Surprise for me, I didn't think that was going to happen, but there he is. He's been given another opportunity, and outside him Andre Pollard is back in the team at number 10, and we've seen of course Sasha Ngoma Zulu playing brilliantly. We saw Mane Lobok play brilliantly last weekend as well with his kicking, but Andre Pollard's getting the nod at this game, and this is showing that Rassie is looking for versatility, looking at being able to swap these guys in and out, see how they perform when they've been given their opportunity, and I'm sure it's another step in terms of building that consistent depth in the Springboks team. We know they've got 3 brilliant number 10s that they're available. We're seeing Pollard run out this weekend. And then when it comes to the midfield, well, we're seeing what we always typically see from the Springboks, Damien Dialandi and Jesse Creel. And this time Jesse Creel is getting to be the captain of the Springboks. There's no Sia Kalesi in this game. He's injured. And we're going to see Jesse Creel take on the captaincy of the Springboks for the first time. So what a huge honour. I think he's played, 63 tests for the Springboks, and this is an opportunity to captain the team. I love that combination between Damien Dialandi and Jesse Creel in the centres for the Springboks, and having this additional responsibility this weekend, Jesse Creel being the captain. I'm sure it's going to increase the level of his game as well. Well done, sir, brilliantly deserved, and enjoy the game at number 13. And then out on the wings, well, I don't think they get any better in World Rugby at the moment. We've got Cheslin Colby, who for me is the World Rugby Player of the Year at the moment. He's playing absolutely fantastic rugby and has done for a long time. Watch out to him to be electric in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets 3 or 4 tries in this game if he stays on for a long period of time. And then on the other wing, we've got Kurtley Ardenser. And I thought he played well against the Barbars last weekend as well, was hungry going in there looking for the ball. But at 15 we see a change, and it's Damien Willemse back in the game, or in the team I should say, for the Springboks. And I love Willemse. I've been a big fan of his from day dot when I first saw him play, and it's great to see him back in the game. So Fassie's getting a bit of a rest this weekend, and we're going to see what Damien Willemse can do at number 15. Watch out for some brilliant running from him, but also his kicking in general play is very, very good. So watch these 2 different dimensions that Damien Willemse, and I love his connection also with Colby and Ardenser, is going to be very, very dangerous from the back. I can see this back line for South Africa going crazy against these Italians, and we might see more tries in this game than we're seeing cricket runs in the Australian-India test match at the moment. Starting 15 for the Springboks, and now let's have a look at what's going to come off the bench, and it doesn't get any easier for the Italians. In fact, it gets worse when it comes to the talent that the South Africans have to share off the bench. And don't forget, this is a 23. They have another 30 players that they could put into this team, and that's no joke. They probably could. So let's look at the forwards that are going to come off the bench, and we're going to have Bonami first of all. Jan Hendrik Wessels is going to come off the bench for the front row as well, and also Vincent Koch. So wow, what a dynamic 3 to be able to bring on. They could have started the game of course, but to bring them on when the Italians are starting to get tired, imagine what the Springbok forwards are going to be able to do to the Italians in the last 20 or 30 minutes of this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Rassie brings them on after about 50 minutes so they get some good game time and they get into the game and being able to really pummel the Italians, which I think is going to happen. And then because we're seeing a 6-2 split from Rassie again, why not? That's what we do with the Springboks. We're going to see R.G. Schneemann, we're going to see Franco Mostert, and we're going to see Quagga Smith as the other 3 forwards that are going to come off the bench. And what a dynamic trio we've got there. R.G. Schneemann, longest legs and arms in World Rugby as far as I'm concerned. His offloads are absolutely brilliant. Watch him to get involved in the breakdown situation, but he'll grab some ball at line-out time as well and just cause an absolute nuisance of himself around the field when he comes on with some of those amazing offloads. Franco Mostert, of course, we're going to see that being able to keep the set pieces going when either Etzebeth or Jaeger come off, and that's going to be an interesting combination. I think it'll be Etzebeth, of course, that comes off and gets a bit of a rest. And then we're going to see Quagga Smith. Well, Quagga Smith can play anywhere on the field. We know that. The versatility of the guy is brilliant, and wouldn't be surprised if I have him down for a try when he comes on as well. So watch out and see whether that prediction comes true with Quagga Smith coming on the field. Okay, so let's have a look at the backs that have come off the bench. Faf de Klerk is going to be the halfback that comes off. I wasn't expecting Faf de Klerk to be the guy coming off the bench, but it's great to see him back. Had a bad injury, of course, been out of the game for a long time. Back into it now. He's getting a bit of a run this weekend. I wouldn't be surprised to see him starting in number 9 next time out against Italy. Let's see how he goes when he comes back into this team. And then the last player that the Springboks are going to use is Willie le Roux, another one that I wouldn't have picked to come off the bench. I thought we were going to see Sasha or Manny Lebok, but it is going to be Willie le Roux, who's also very versatile across that backline. So a really interesting team selection here from Rassie for me. He's giving an opportunity, of course, to a few debutants, but he's also playing around with his main team, giving some players a rest, building up into the season. This is their first real game out in the International Test Series. So I'm sure the selections are going to change as we go through the next few games for the Springboks. In my humble opinion, I think we're entering a period of dominance for the Springboks across World Rugby. I can see this moving right through to the next World Cup and beyond. The talent, the depth of players, the way that Rassie's coaching this team and injecting a lot of innovation is something that excites me. And it also excites me about the opportunity for the other teams to catch up, because they can see what Rassie's doing, they can learn from it, and they can just start to develop things in their own system. But for now, I can see the dominance that the All Blacks used to have back in the heyday coming through now in the Springbok team. I think it's going to be a golden era for South African rugby. I don't think those that are disliking that should be hating against it. In fact, I think you should embrace it. I think we should recognise greatness when we see it. There's a lot of great players in the Springbok squad, not just in their team. And I think we should recognise what that's doing for the level of rugby across the world. I, for one, applaud it, and will be watching all of the Springbok games this year with much excitement. So Italy's up against it this weekend. It doesn't matter what team, in my opinion, the Springboks were going to put out, but the Italians have chosen to put an inexperienced team out. They put some experimental players in there as far as their coaching selectors have gone, and they're giving them a chance to play against the best team in the world at the moment. And I think that's a good thing for Italian rugby. As I've said in my previous videos, I am one of the guys that sits on the side of the fence that says experimenting with players between Rugby World Cups is a good way to go. If they don't get the taste of rugby at the top of the world against the best players in the world, how do you expect them to ever get to that level? It's only by playing the best in their home country that you get an opportunity to actually grow. And that's my opinion on this. I've said it with those French players that are going to New Zealand at the moment, and I'm also saying it with the Italians that are playing against South Africa this weekend. So let's have a look at this Italian team. I don't know a lot of these players, so I'm going to be watching very carefully in the weekend to see how they perform. But in the front row, they've got Fischetti, Bartolomeo and Ferrari. So in the locks, they've got Cannonone and Zambonin. For the loosies, they've got Ezegier, who's a huge guy, very, very good rugby player. Just needs to eliminate some of the errors that he brings into the game and keep the energy up, and he's going to be an outstanding player for Italy. I really like this guy. Zulani is the other loose forward, and then Cannoni, the other brother, on the number 8 position. Let's have a look at the Italian backline. A lot of these guys are completely new to me. At halfback, we've got Fusco. In the number 10 jersey, we're going to see Dari. And then number 12 is Zanon. And then Menanchello, of course, in the number 13 jersey, a brilliant player in number 13. And the wings are going to be Gisi and Liner, and then Trula at fullback. So an interesting starting 15 there for the Italians. And you can see the names off the benches. I'm not going to go through them all, but you can see that there's a lot of new names in this Italian team coming off the bench as well. So about it, the Italian selectors and coaching team have decided that they want to build depth and give these players who have been on the peripheral an opportunity against the best team in the world, and they're rolling them out at Loftus Versfeld this weekend against South Africa. I feel sorry for some of them. They're going to get battered and bruised, that's for sure. Here we go, that's the two teams, and what do I expect is going to happen? Well, I think the Springboks are going to steamroll over this Italian team. I think they'll score more than 50 points comfortably. I think the reserves for the Springboks, the 6-2 split, they'll come on and do their job in the second half. The Italians are not going to get any reprieve from the pressure they're going to face against the Springbok team for the whole time of the game. And I expect the Springboks to go up another level, if it's possible, from what we saw against the Barbarians. Of course, we've got a whole lot of new players in the Springboks team for this particular game, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can hit the ground running. Then we'll see what Rassie does with his selections for the second test against Italy that's taking place also in South Africa. So this is going to be a great game, no doubt about it. Comfortable winners, the Springboks, but let's see what the Italians can do. Have they got some fight in them? Will they remember that one victory they had against the Springboks back in 2016 in Florence? Can they bring some of that energy to Loftus Versfeld in the weekend? We'll have to wait and see. Now, as always, I'll be back after the game with a full match analysis, so make sure you stick around for that. If you haven't been around for a long time and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do it. Give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying my content, and I will see you post-game, South Africa versus Italy, for my thoughts and opinions around how I saw that match. And don't forget, something special coming up this weekend, Australia versus Fiji. I'm doing a live stream of that game from a commentary point of view. I'm going to watch the game, I'm going to talk about it on my YouTube channel in a live commentary situation. So if that's something that appeals to you, make sure you come and join me for the Australian versus Fiji game that's taking place this weekend from the McDonald Stadium in Newcastle, Australia. And we'll see how that goes, experimenting a bit here on my channel. Okay, that's it for this video. I'll see you all again soon. Stay safe, stay well everyone across the world, keep enjoying your rugby, and until next time, it's time to say adios from beautiful Cancun, New Mexico. Bye for now.